So I got into voice acting through just regular traditional acting training theater. My background was theater, and before that I was ice dancing, and so I was always doing some kind of, I guess I'd say like a somatic or dance or art, something that had something to do with, I would say singing, acting, reciting stuff, or dancing. So eventually that led to theater school, and when I was at theater school I had a teacher who actually did voice acting on the side, and I learned from her that you could actually make a living out of it, and I thought, oh my gosh, I'll definitely be developing that alongside my theater training. So I started fairly early on with that, like university in a way. So the Zelda thing happened for me. It was actually upon a move to LA. I had been acting for about 10 years professionally and wanted to take my career to the next level, so I moved to Los Angeles. And strangely, it was one of the first things that I auditioned for. But I had some good demos, packages, things like that, and I submitted them, got myself an audition, had no idea what it was for because it was all secret, and ended up just hoping to make a good impression and ended up landing this role instead, and it was quite a shocker. Boy, oh boy, if I could cross it into another franchise. You know, I really enjoy the Miyazaki films, Studio Ghibli. I often think of them, they're not at all the same, but they have a lot of similar kind of art styles, lores, and maybe just the way that they portray, like I really love Princess Mononoke, things like that, so I like the idea of doing crossovers with those two. I've done a lot of indie games and stuff like that as well. Trying to think of, when I think about that, I'm like, there's a really lovely game that came out a few years ago called Omen Sight, and I do a couple of characters in that, and I so much enjoyed working on that game. Most of the stuff that I'm really excited for right now hasn't come out yet, and there's a couple of things that'll be releasing next year. Also, it's a lesser known thing that I also do Star Wars Outlaws, that just came out, the VR game. I do multiple characters in that game, including some characters who do hatis and stuff like that, so that was really fun. Yeah, I don't know, check those ones out. So many great games. So many great games. Yeah, so recording for games, there are so many different versions of it. It depends on the style of the game. Something like Zelda, for example, was a dub, and so it's done in Japanese first and then it gets localized in all the different countries. Mine obviously was in English. So you go in and you're actually working with pre-drawn material, but the lip flaps are already drawn, so you have to kind of match that. So that's a very different style from another type of video game. For example, if you're doing like motion capture, which I do a fair bit of as well, that's doing, you know, like full bodies, you put on a suit, you go into a room, you have to have your lines memorized, and you're working with other actors in the room, which is another kind of work that I adore. It's really, really fun. And then afterwards you might go into a studio and do like 4-hour sessions of screaming and all the sort of barks and oh-nos and things that go with that. ADR, filling in the rest of it. It's usually a combination of those two forms. So it actually varies radically from game to game what you might be doing, but at the core of it is always, always, always acting. It's like about analyzing a script, knowing how to take direction, and just and being physical. Whether you're in a booth or on a stage, it's always a full body experience. I think that's fun. I do play some of them. It's funny, I've played less of the Tears of the Kingdom. I feel like I've been traveling around so much, and I don't tend to bring my Switch with me. Actually, I brought it to Australia with me, which is nice. But I have some other games queued up on there that I want to play that aren't the games that I'm in. I've definitely played through a lot of the Assassin's Creeds, and I've played a lot of the other Zelda games too, Breath of the Wild as well. Right? I haven't beaten any of the Zelda games. I tend to like rage quit, like, you know. But yeah, no, I do play some of the games that I voice. There's so many great games. I want to sort of focus on the other ones. Well, this is really fun. It's my first time to Australia, so it's a real honor to be here. And Adelaide is stunning. We have lots of things planned for this. My relationship with fans has been a kind of 7-year surreal chapter of traveling the world and learning fan stories, how the series has affected them, seeing so many Zelda tattoos. I feel like I'm a Zelda tattoo connoisseur now, or aficionado. In fact, I just I just wrote in black marker on somebody's arm, and he's going to get it tattooed, and it's fun. I wrote in Hylian for him, and he's going to go get that tattooed and come back and show me. So I adore it. It's a really special way to travel. I don't know how else to say it. I feel very, very lucky that I get to do this as a bit of work and have eyes and ears on the work that I do. I mean, we just want to communicate as artists, and to be able to get to have people actually hear you and have it resonate with them is an absolute gift. So yeah, it's my deep pleasure and honor.